So a lot of you guys have a trig limit problem, so I'm gonna go over, maybe I wanna pick a few to do. So let's start with the limit x approach to 0 of sine of x over x is equal to 1, and limit x approach to 0, 1 minus cosine of x over x, that's equal to 0. So a lot of students have this type of questions, especially on the worksheet. I figure a lot of people have hard time, so we're gonna go back and answer some questions. Hopefully you guys watching. Go over it, not all the questions, but pick a couple questions that you think you have hard time. So I'll go over limit x approaches 0, sine of 6x over cosine of 4x. So I'm going to show you simple math. Let's say 2 over 3. You can equal to 2 over 1 times 1 over 3. So those are the things that you can break down mathematically. That kind of makes sense. So I will break down to the limit x approaches 0 of sine to the 6x over 1 times cosine of 4x. Okay? Since the variable cannot move it in now, so I'm just gonna keep inside here. I'm not gonna doing something crazy. The idea is I wanted this to have 6x. Okay, so I'm gonna get here. I'm gonna say, okay, let's get 6x here happen here, because I don't want a 1, because this one's a sine x over x or sine u over u. So I want to multiply something here, 6x over 6x. If I do that, then I can multiply this in. So 3 times 1 is equal to 3, but I can also multiply this into here because the associate property doesn't matter what order I have. So that's equal to limit x approaches 0 of sine of 6x over 6x. Then 6x over cosine of 4x. Now you see here that this 6x go into here, because I just reversed it. This one go to the top. So long as I make this happen, right? If I make this happen, then that's gonna be 1. Okay. But if I plug in 0 into here, basically 6 times 0 is 0. Cosine of 0 is going to be 1. So 0 over 1. 0 over 1 is okay. Now 1 over 0 is not okay. Right here is going to be 1. And that is going to be my answer, which is 0. So I didn't break any math. I just multiply this by 6x, 6x.
Grace Barrios, please come to the front office. Grace Barrios, please come to the front office.
Okay. Now, some of the questions that Jose here is asking, he says, well, how do I do, let's say, something deal with 10 of x? How do I do that? So we're gonna do that here. That says this one, limit x approaches 0 of x cubed over 10 of the cube 2x. First of all, I know 10 of the cube 2x is. I'm going to rewrite that as limit x approach to 0. It's going to be x cubed over sine cube 2x over cosine cube 2x. I'm going to rewrite this, and that's going to be equal to limit x approaches 0 x cubed over 1 times by cosine to the cube 2x over sine of cube 2x. You realize that I always keep this inside. I never factor out 2 because that's the worst way you can do. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have limit x approach 0. I want the sine of 3 2x with this. So I can switch the order here because 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 is equal to 2 times 4 over 5 times 3. Because they're still the same answer, right? So I can change these places. So it'll be x cubed over sine of 3 to the 2x times by cosine of 3 to the 2x. Now the next part is this approach is 0. This is going to be automatically equal to 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply here. I need to be careful with this part because technically that's equal to limit x approach 0 of x over sine to the 2x times x times sine of 2x times x over sine of 2x and times by cosine of cube of 2x. And we know that sine x over x is equal to 1, but not sine of 2x over x. So this also known as what? This is known as sine of x limit x approach 0, that's equal to 1 as well. So if this part is equal to 1, I'm going to multiply. I want this to be 2, 2, 2. So 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So technically I want to multiply this as 8 over 8. Or 8 over 8 is 1. So 8 can also split to 2 times 2 times 2. So I'm going to change that to 2 times 2 times 2. And I'm going to move. So this is still 8. So I'm not move. If I multiply everything together, I'm still go back to here. So what happens is I'm going to get 2 and 2 and 2 here. I'm going to write it right here. And I'm going to change that. So this 2 going here, this 2 goes here, this 2 goes here. So this is going to be 1. Okay, so maybe I should do that again. Maybe I'll draw it, help you. So this one is the x. So it is 2 times 2 times 2. So what happened is 2 is going to go to here. This 2 is going to go to here. This 2 is going to go to here. Then you will have limit x approach 0 of 2x over sine of 2x times 2x over sine of 2x times 2x over sine of 2x, which is, we know this all become 1, and times this part is going to left the 1 over 8 times cosine of 3 of 2x. Now, x approach 0 on the cosine of x is going to be 1. So it's going to be 1 times 1 over 8 times 1 times 1 times 1. So the answer is going to be 1 over 8. And hopefully that can help you. Some of you guys question, say, how do I handle these problems? They're actually not that difficult. You just have to go back and figure out what you're supposed to do. And require a little bit of imaginations. Can you check the answers, right?
Yeah, alright.
Number 1E.
That's right.
Right, 1 over 8.
Hmm?
The work, does I understand?
Hmm?
The work, do you understand it?
Yeah. I just messed up when it came to the, I didn't like, I know it was tan is sine over cosine, but I messed up in the part where I didn't like multiply across.
Oh.
Yeah.
So do you understand from this to this part?
Yeah.
Do you understand this part is keep, change, flip?
Keep, change, flip, and then you multiply?
And then I can switch the spot here, right? And then I'm just kind of leaving cosine. What nice thing about cosine is when it reaches 0, it's always equal to 1. So I can leave you alone. I don't want to do anything there. I just kind of leave you alone. I just need to take care of that. I just need to focus on anything with signs, because signs gonna help me out solving those questions.
Alright.
Those are very difficult questions for a lot of you guys, but the idea is the same way. You can try with different problems now. You should be able to try I. You should be able to try D. You should be able to try E, that's C. So you should be able to try K now. That's gonna be, a lot. It's not that bad. Just have to keep on trying. So let's see if I can find another question that is kind of difficult to do, and let's see if we can figure out how to do it. This one looks kind of difficult. Let's see what is it? Sine square of x cosine of x over 1 minus cosine of x. If I plug in 0, I'm going to get 0 over 0. Which is, if I do some type of math here, we talk about do math, right?
Yeah, just if you get 0 over 0, that's not right.
Yeah, so 0 over 0, it's not right, it's indeterminate. So this is something we can do about math. Then I'm gonna see what I can do. I don't know what I can do. I don't know just as much you don't know. So I'm gonna say limit x approaches 0 here. Sine square x, we know sine square of x is equal to what? 1 minus cosine square of x. Does this make sense?
Yeah, from the trig.
Just want to put that in my identity, right?
Right.
We know this one is caused and defined. So we can actually extend this. Say it's limit x approaches 0. This is actually a difference of a square. So it'll be 1 plus cosine of x times 1 minus sine of x, or 1 minus cosine of x, times cosine of x over 1 minus cosine of x. Do you see where I'm going?
Yeah.
Those two would be cancel out. Now I'm going to plug in 0, because cancel out I'm going to get 1, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to plug in 0 in here. So x approaches 0 here. So if x approaches 0, with cosine it's a lot easier. So it'll be 1 plus cosine of x times cosine of x. Then if I plug in 0, it's going to be 2 times 1. The answer is equal to 2. Can you double check the answer, see if it's right?
What letter?
And this one is E.
E? Yeah.
So again, it's just the math part is some type of math, and this is a basic math, okay? This just rely on 2 over 3 times 4 over 5. You can switch the bottom, but this one is rely on a little bit of stronger math from pre-calculus. So that's why because when you are there's a section in pre-calculus, it's called proving identities. And this is kind of stuff that you can say, this is equal to this. So when it's equal to this, the whole idea is this denominator calls undefined or indeterminate. So if you find a way to get rid of that, it's gonna be somehow help you. So you have to use those tools, first one, second one, and you have to use basic math tool, which is multiplication associated property, and some type of trigonometry property that you can use. So, and it's gonna help you somewhat how to solve some problems. Not all the time you can solve problems, but one of the things that you can do. Like G is actually quite interesting. I'm just looking at it right now. And that's interesting. So you guys gotta figure out how can I do other type of math to solve this problem. Love you all. Hopefully this help you to solve some of the problem for homework. If not, then we can talk about tomorrow.